Production ready is probably one of the hardest engineering terms to define, as it both encompasses widely accepted principles as well as subjective company-related standards. A simple definition for production ready would be code that is ready to be served to end users, but this unfortunately hardly answers the real question, which is how do we define ready? The word ready, as we commonly understand it, usually implies a finished state of something, or in other words, a state that is not likely to or will not change. However, in software engineering, code can hardly ever qualify as finished or done, as it will always need to be improved or updated at some point in time. So the final question is, how do developers decide when code is ready to be shipped and deployed into production? And the answer lies in the 4 commonly accepted criteria that can be combined together or taken separately.
The code should be robust, as it should have no obvious bugs and integrate procedures for error handling and recovery. Indeed, rather than expecting an application to be completely free of bugs and errors, which is hardly possible, the idea is to have at least some components dedicated to mitigating failures it might encounter, including flow control structures, circuit breakers, data caching, rate limiting, and so on. The code should be tested and reviewed, as it should successfully pass all the test scenarios defined by the quality assurance analyst, whether they are manual or automated, to ensure conformance against the company-defined standards. It also needs to be reviewed by 1 or more peers to verify that coding guidelines and design patterns are respected. Moreover, the code should satisfy the product requirements, which includes purpose, feature, functionality, and behavior. It should fulfill the user stories drafted at the beginning of the project or sprint by the product owner, which are, in short, a simple description of a feature told from the perspective of the person who desires the new capability. Finally, the code should be reliable and maintainable. It should have a clear structural design and documentation so that developers can easily understand, fix, and update it, but also be able to scale with increasing traffic or stored data volume.
With that being said, we'll consider that our authentication microservice is production ready when it satisfies the requirements, has a clear structural design, respects the coding guidelines, is tested, and is documented. So whenever you're ready, let's move on to the final lesson of this module, where I'll give you an overview of the HTTP protocol.